Welcome to Irish Football Fan TV. This is the watch along. It's been a bit of a tough day so far with the 21s losing and Shelbourne getting relegated just now to Longford. Longford are now promoted to the Premier Division. But I'm joined by Gerard Brown, and I'm going to try and be as positive as I can be. Gerard, how are you?
Yeah, it's a bit of a positive, negative day as well for myself. Obviously, with the 21s was a tough blow, and the thoughts that we won't be going to Slovenia and Hungary now next March and possibly next summer. So we could do with this win badly to lift spirits today. We touched on the show last night. Look, we want goals, we want 3 points. Let's start doing it now, and let's start kicking on under the Stephen Kenny era.
Yeah, well, I think the interesting thing, obviously, we spoke on the preview was Brooks and Bale and Dan James, Nico Williams, they're all actually playing, so we weren't sure if they were. Then we obviously had our lineup. McLean came back in. There was a lot of players who I actually picked on my starting 11 show that are in the team. I think Darragh O'Shea is going to play right full ahead of Cyrus Christie. Kevin Long will probably go centre back. And then here's the lineup. It's actually coming up now, so we'll be able to kind of run through it too. Darren Randolph and goal, Matt Doherty, Shane Duffy, Daryl Horgan, Adam Ida, Robbie Brady, James McLean, Jeff Hendrick, Kevin Long, Darragh O'Shea, and Jason Malumbi. Are you surprised by any of that? It's actually, Darragh O'Shea is playing left back by this graphic that they put up.
No, I'm not too surprised, really, to be honest, with the starting team. I thought maybe just, with obviously Enda Stevens' injury and a lack of kind of natural options or regular players who play in that left-hand side, I thought we might see a start for Manning. So that does surprise me a little bit. Apart from that, no, I still expect him to go with Duffy despite his recent wobbles. I think just because he's such an experienced player, and with Johnny Egan gone, we need that. And with Kevin Long, we have a player coming in who's played a lot more club football this season than he has in recent times. In terms of midfield, I'm maybe a little bit surprised. Well, maybe not so much surprised, but with Brady coming in, I would maybe like seeing a younger player come in. I know Malumbi is there, but I would like seeing someone like Josh Cullen, as I touched on the show last night. James McLean, as yourself, yeah, I expected him to come back in because I think he would have been hurting after Thursday night, would have been hurting after being sent off in this reverse fixture. So I expected him to start, especially after not starting Thursday. And it's good to see Adam Mead that he's consistent in up front, because look, we have to try and stick with these young players that've got potential, and only games at this level for young players is only going to stand some. So overall, in general, maybe one or two exceptions, but no, not majorly surprised with our starting team.
Yeah, I think other than I think it was a fullback, I pretty much predicted. Other than Hendrick as well. Hendrick I had out of my team. I had Howard in ahead of him. So it's interesting. It looks like Jeff Hendrick could be in the deep midfield option again, and it looks like Robbie Brady will be the attacking midfielder, which is again I actually said I wanted. We're playing out from the back here at the moment, but it's something I had said I wanted on the starting 11 show. But just as a first comment there from David Salter, who always gets his comments in very quickly. So he says, feel sorry for the under-21s. They were lucky not to get a draw at least. Iceland had a very effective game plan. If the seniors didn't have as many absentees, it might have changed the course of that game. It's hard to disagree with that. What do you think, Jay?
Yeah, I suppose it's an interesting topic. Obviously, we look at the likes of Jason Knight being called up to the senior team with under-21s, obviously already been depleted of some players, but that's a given. Like when you have players that young playing Premier League football, the likes of Aaron Conley and Darragh O'Shea, they're always going to be fast-tracked into the senior team. So you take exceptions like that. But yeah, it is a tough one with the Jason Knight situation. Just wonder, like, for a game of this magnitude, why he wasn't kept. As with 21s, yeah, like, just there seems to be so many resemblance to the senior team, wasn't there? Like, we had good spells of possession. I thought we were really just starting to take control of the game before Iceland got their first goal. Just kind of seems to be lacking that little bit of cutting edge up front for me. I was surprised with one or two selections. Maybe there was an injury issue. You might know because you were there, but Darrell Leahy not starting surprised me. Troy Parrott coming on, you could kind of tell he hasn't played a lot of football this season. He's only just coming back from injury. I thought Obafemi, especially in the first half, definitely looked like he could cause them problems. He was a little bit unlucky with one or two chances that came away, but he looked alive, he looked involved, he looked interested. It is good and disappointing after such a positive start to that group, and to be in the situation now they are, that ultimately just back-to-back results like that have now cost us any chance to get into the under-21 major championship, which is just such a disappointment. But look, it still is an improvement to that age group. We've never been anywhere near close qualifying for the under-21 tournament. We were fourth seed starting off, so it's great progress we're taking on. Good few of them players are still eligible For the next campaign, we've had strong under-17s, under-19 teams the last couple of years. So hopefully them players will come through, and this now will become a regular occurrence for Ireland at this age group.
Yeah, just because while you're talking there, we just had a good chance there. Robbie Brady whipped in a free kick and Shane Duffy got on the end of it, but you'd expect him from that position to be burying it home for 1-0. Unfortunately, he headed it wide, and it's 0-0, 2 minutes in, just in case anyone's wondering what the score is. A few people commenting there that my sound is low, so I brought the mic right up to my mouth, so I'm almost eating it, so let me know if it's still low. Cheers. Yeah, I think I don't know what the story is with Darragh Leahy and why he wasn't playing. Maybe it's something to do with Dundalk. I don't know. Maybe they needed him more. Liam Scales has played that position a few times. He played there against Italy earlier in the qualifying campaign when Stephen Kenny was actually manager. Thought he done all right, but yeah, ultimately it was coming down to our attacking options, and we found it hard to break down Iceland. I felt being at the game and just watching us, we were trying to break their press, and then they were sitting back on us. They were trying to press on us, but then they were sitting back, so it was kind of hard to judge it. They got their goal completely against the run of play. It was a great finish, and from Good Johnson's son, so I'm sure they were delighted at the fact that they got that goal. Then we were trying so hard to get into it, and it was all Ireland. The moment of madness then, obviously, after we got our equaliser, there was a moment of madness by Nathan Collins, gets sent off, and we needed to keep a level head at that point. There was a bit of a dodgy tackle from Coyote, but and the noise of that tackle as well. I think that's why more players were, up in arms about it, especially the Iceland team. But then I didn't even see what Collins did, but I believe he just barged into their player, and it was when you need someone like him who has been captain of Stoke and plays with really top level players at Stoke. I was surprised by his temperament to get sent off at such a crucial time in the game. You're talking in the late 80 minutes of the game, and to get sent off when we're chasing the game is just absolutely needless and so costly now. But look, I think we'll learn from it, and I think it'll be good for the lads to kind of suffer this disappointment, because then they won't want to suffer it again.
Yeah,
I think they'll become stronger from it.
Yeah, that's exactly just what I was going to say. Like, they're going to learn from it. If anything, it's going to make them more determined and dedicated and committed to go forward. That like we'd never want to experience a day like that again, and that's going to be a driving source of motivation for them going forward. Touched on the Collins sending off. Yeah, like when you look at all the players that were missing through injury and senior call-ups, he probably was our most experienced player on the pitch this season. Maybe the exception of Obafemi. But like in terms of game time this season, he's been played the most out of the players on the pitch. So you would have been frustrated and disappointed with that. And like he's been someone who's been pointed out by Nathan Jones, who previously managed with Stoke, and Michael O'Neill, for someone who's kind of shows maturity beyond his years. So you would have been a little bit frustrated and disappointed with that. Just in relation, to this game, Paul, I know you touched on it there that we had that half chance with Duffy and I was talking. That's just because I'm a couple of seconds behind. So Brady was actually only whipping in the free kick when we went back to you. So I think you are a couple of seconds ahead of me. So hopefully you'll be spoiling it for me when Ireland score.
Yeah, hopefully we'll see what happens. I think that happened the other night as well, the other watch along. But Shane Duffy has had a bit of a rocky start so far. He done well there. But yeah, look, I don't think Michael Obafemi as well. I thought he was good in spells, but I didn't think overall he kind of covered himself in any sort of like I just didn't think he looked good. It was a couple of touches and a couple of flashes of brilliance, but other than that, just not enough to affect the game. And he's been affecting Premier League games, and you expect more from him. And I was hoping that he would get that goal. He looked really rusty, and he looked I don't know. This might sound bad, but I don't know. He looked overweight, in my opinion. Troy as well. I thought he kind of just sauntered around when he came on, as if to say, and he didn't track back, and he was going mad at Liam Scales. And I was just kind of like, well, you're not doing your job, and then you're giving out to him for doing all the defending and then giving you the ball. I just felt as though some of them kind of needed to dig in more for the team instead of thinking that they were maybe a level above. Now, maybe I'm wrong, but that's what it looked like from where I was sitting.
Yeah, I think with Obafemi, like I would agree with you that overall in general that no, it probably still wasn't enough. But I just think, again, like I don't want to be like criticising players and stuff like that, but I do think it's still an improvement on his performance against Italy in the last game, where I thought he had absolutely no impact in the game whatsoever. And yeah, you just wonder, like I know he's seen very little game time this season, but he still played, I think, over 20 Premier League games last season. You still think that, like, as you said, like someone who's been heavily involved in big games should still be looking and expecting for more. This is a player that was publicly frustrated not to be involved in Stephen Kenny's first senior squad. And, like, not being smart again, I haven't seen anything from it at under 21 level suggest that he maybe should be there. And maybe it doesn't seem to be showing his club manager much either, that he isn't getting a look in there. When you look at someone like Che Evans, who he was ahead of in the pecking order last year, is now not just past him, but Shane Long out as well. And yeah, with the Troy Parrott situation, definitely the lack of game time hasn't helped. I know, can't remember his name for the life of me. Gary Rowett, the Millwall manager, I know he declared him fit before Millwall's last game, but he still didn't play in it. Like, so he's only played once for Millwall this season, so the lack of game time has definitely been an issue there. It is disappointing. But look, I suppose for them, I know the chances of qualifying for that tournament are gone. But look, they still have to pick themselves up and try and end the campaign high and win a game that, look, let's be honest, if we don't beat Luxembourg on Monday night or Wednesday night, that would be a major disappointment.
Yeah, well, I think it's not really much of a game now, is it? So I don't
No.
think it really mattered. At least if we were hanging on for a draw, I think there was some talk behind me in the media box that there's a best kind of runners up again. But obviously we lost the game then after that, and I don't think it was long after we conceded the goal. So unfortunately, that's just the way the cookie crumbles. We're out, and yeah, look, there's a lot of players there, though. I think, as I said, will grow from that. But I was looking around. I was expecting someone to show a moment of magic and show, But again, you got to take into consideration a lot of the players were taken up to the senior team, and if you look at it from the starting point of when the group started, a lot of those players got moved up to the senior team in that period. So I suppose in some ways that's been a success, but ultimately the qualification wasn't a success. I think you can ultimately take in so many players and give away so many players, but the quality dips up and down. And being given a decent or half fit, even not half decent, Troy Parrott. Oh, Jeff Hendrick here, good bit of play on the edge of the box. McLean has it on the left. What's he gonna do? He curves one in and the keeper catches it. Nothing to get excited about there. We are playing well here, though. I think in this game, I think we're playing quite well. We're getting on the ball, and we're actually showing a bit of energy and getting into them early on. Tackles are kind of flying in fairly, and we're trying to keep the ball well, which is good. Hello?
Yeah, it's in kind of a similar platform to our last couple of games. We've had quite a lot of ball early on. We are showing intentions to get forward, to create chances, make things happen, which is good. It's good. It's positive. It's been a long time since we can say that's been a continuous team with Ireland. Just in terms of the 21s, like, it would bring back the old debate again about whether we should have, maybe obviously a lot of people say we should have left more players with them, but it'll also bring up debate that should we have left Stephen Kenny to see out that campaign, let Mick continue on with the senior management, and then bring Stephen Kenny in after that. Like, for me, myself, I don't think it really would have made much difference. I still think Mick would have looked to call up them players. Like, the situation, it was what it was. We knew it was going to happen. It's an easy thing to go back and say now. But it is something I think a lot of people will obviously just bring up just for the sake of conversation and to fill a gap and make talking points. What do you think yourself?
Yeah, it's just literally, as you said, it's just something to get people talking. People seem to want to drive this narrative all the time of, oh, well, Stephen Kenny should have done this and Mick McCarthy should have been kept on this. Well, ultimately, that's what happened. That's what happened with the contract. That's the way it happened. A freak incident like COVID has happened. You just get on with it. Like, okay, we didn't qualify. I don't think that would have made a difference if Stephen Kenny was there or not, as you said. And I think a lot of those players would have been called up regardless. I think he was more. I think Mick would have definitely picked Jason Knight in one of the most recent squads if he had the time. But I think Mick would have been gone in a normal world, So there is that as well. So I just think people just look for these things, and then people are trying to say this thing about McGoldrick retiring is because he doesn't believe in Stephen Kenny, and then they were trying to say that Matt Doherty after the press conference because he spoke honestly. He was just after coming off the pitch, and he was visibly annoyed after losing 3-0, and they were trying to make out, oh, maybe he doesn't trust in Kenny, or I'm just like, you are just looking for every little reason to nitpick and try and criticise this manager.
Yeah, so you always have the doubters and everything else. like Dan, as you mentioned, only for the freak situation with COVID, Kenny was actually meant to take charge of 9 of the 10 qualifiers. The Luxembourg and Iceland games were meant to be in March, so Kenny would have overseen them. So like you can't foresee what was going to happen and what we're going through in the world at the moment. But like going back to like with the David McGoldrick situation, I don't think it has anything to do with he doesn't believe in Stephen Kenny. Like for him, at the end of the day, he probably if things had continued as they should have done pre-COVID and that playoff game was played in March and we lost it then, McGoldrick probably would have actually retired then. It's just that was the end of that campaign. It just happened that the Nations League games got sucked in before that. I think that was purely it. I think he's looking at it from his own point of view. He's 32 years of age. He probably realised his body can't keep up playing these consistent games at such a high level that something has to win out. Playing for Ireland or keeping up my dream alive of playing in the Premier League, and that unfortunately run out from him. And you can't deny a player the opportunity if they want to choose playing in the Premier League. And the situation with Matt Doherty, as you said, like it's just emotions were probably still running. You're adrenaline, you're not thinking fully straight. Like it wasn't the pop of the manager. It's just like he's so used to kind of like certain standards, what he's achieved at club level with Wolves and what he's now opted into now with Spurs. And I think it's just kind of that anger and frustration. He kind of maybe wants to set a template that like this is kind of what I want at club level. It's more what I want from international team, which is good because it shows he cares, he's interested, he's passionate, and he's proud to play for Ireland. And that's what we want. And like people will just say that anyway because there's people out there that don't believe in Stephen Kenny and don't think they should be there, and they'll just draw on anything just to add to that fire, which doesn't make sense.
Yeah, well, I think as I said, if a couple of goals went in
Yeah,
for Ireland, I think people will be viewing things very differently, and it's just because we haven't been scoring goals. So I think those fortunes will change soon. I'm hoping that they will anyway. And I'd love Adam Ida to get one there. He's putting himself about here a good bit. He looks like he's actually picked up a knock there on his back. Going up for a header there, but yeah, it ultimately comes down to just people just being lazy and trying to find little holes and things. And I think what Doherty said was right. And if Roy Keane said it, everybody would just be like, "Oh yeah, Roy Keane." Roy Keane, I'm sure, said similar after games when Brian Kerr was the manager, and didn't you didn't see people saying stuff about that. Yeah, that's grand.
yeah. Roy Keane had a good bit to say himself after the game on ITV and on Thursday. And I just kind of, I don't know if you got a chance to see it. I wasn't watching RTV's coverage, but I seen obviously various different pages shared some of his comments. Like, what did you kind of make him like criticising Irish performance, saying that like I could have played there tonight. England had a harder training session, so it wasn't good enough from Ireland. Like I always kind of find it a bit rich sometimes for Roy Keane. As great as a breath of fresh air as he can be, but like look at some of the performances we had when you were involved in management, especially towards the end. They were probably worse than what we're going through now. Like I just kind of found that it was a bit rich for him, and I was like, you kind of have a short memory from that sense.
Well, Keane's always contradicting himself. He's a walking
Yeah,
contradiction. Everything he says is he said he'd never like to be on. Oh, Hendrik, what are you doing? Uh, he likes to do this thing where he says, "Oh, I wouldn't go on the TV," and then years later he's on the TV. "Oh, I wouldn't wear makeup." Micah Richards put up the picture of him or the video with him
yeah,
without
that's
makeup.
right. Yeah,
He's contradicting himself all the time,
yeah,
and yeah. Look, I don't really like. I think Roy Keane's absolutely hilarious, and I I do watch a lot of his clips, and sometimes I find myself searching Roy Keane and down a rabbit hole of his funniest clips and stuff like that. But when I hear him talking about Ireland, I just think he shouldn't really have like shouldn't really be commenting on it because
yeah.
yeah, yes, he got Ireland to the Euros. Yeah, we done well at the Euros, but I mean, if you really look in depth at it, um, that Italy side that we beat, and it was this famous victory and all that. But I mean, it makes no relevance to Italy. They didn't care. They put out basically their second team to give a few of their players minutes and stuff like that. And that was probably Keane's greatest achievement as assistant manager. And then he'd be if the Ireland team now done that. Oh, that's horrible on Dan James on Dan Randall.
It's coming up for me now in a second here.
I just failed him. He just failed him. Anyway,
Yeah, just it's Gareth Bale. I think it's just after. No, Ireland have the ball back here now. Jeez, I could be a long way behind. What's on your time? What's on your clock actually?
let's see now. How did he not get a yellow card? He clearly takes him out. 16:51 right now. McLean's
Oh
in
yeah,
goal.
you're about 30 seconds ahead of me. Oh yeah, that's. Oh, it's just come up here. I mean, oh yeah, like I know Dan James will probably say, "Oh, momentum carried me through" and everything else like that, but it's almost like as if Randolph caught it, he stopped, and then he just threw himself into him.
Watch the
Just having a
replay.
look. Yeah, I'm watching the replay now. Yeah, like he's Dan James even stops
Oh,
and
good
then
ball
just
by
throws
Horgan. It's
himself
in the
in.
box. Go on, shoot, Brady. Oh, it's gone over. Oh, I thought it was in.
I thought you were cheering for a goal. Yeah, Horgan has it here now for me after getting it from McLean. Brady's put it out wide. Horgan again.
He fired it over. It's not a corner.
It was actually a good move from Ireland though. There was some good plays, some good nice touches in that though, in fairness.
Playing well, Gerard, to be honest. I'm actually really liking the way we're playing, and I think if we can get a goal, we might get a result here. But maybe I'm speaking too soon, so I'm not going to go too much into it. But just back to Keane, I just think it's just, sometimes he just doesn't need to say anything. Like I just think it's a bit, as you said, it's a bit rich. Him coming in and criticising the team and stuff like that. And I get it, like he has to say something because he's surrounded by people in England, so he has to try and get his thing in there and stand out from them, which I get. But I just don't think that anything he says anymore about Ireland is relevant. Randolph's just giving the ball away there, but we're all right. I just don't think anything he says about Ireland is relevant. I mean, as you said about the performances towards the back end of his reign, lads, what are we doing? We're gifting them chances here. Oh, good save, Darren. We're just giving the ball away at the back here a lot. We look nervous at the back, but just with Keane and the performances, I think, against England we were poor, but every other game we've been in the game and we haven't looked poor. We're probably the better side in terms of dominating possession and creating chances, but just not scoring the chances that we've created. Against England, we just weren't good. They were better. It was as simple as that, and there's no argument there. But I think we looked as close as we did to Martin O'Neill's team in that England game than we have in any other game.
Yeah, as I like even go back to like before the end, like as you touched on, like his greatest achievement was that result against Italy. Like even another great result, obviously after that was when we went to Austria and won 1-0 and McLean scored. And you just think of where we were then, top of that World Cup qualifying group with 10 points, and even just the way we capitulated and didn't win any of our big games at home. Like you have to look towards management for that as well. Wales at home ended that game, and Serbia at home into a 10-man, and we couldn't make that count. So even the signs were even there long before even things really turned sour in their last year in charge. But just like in general, I think with Roy Keane, I suppose you said like he's surrounded by English people the night, so he had to kind of say something. I suppose he was covering the game for ITV. 90% of the audience would have been English. They wouldn't really have cared if Keane made a contradiction statement about himself, about Ireland and the team's performances and that. I think just in general with pundits, like a lot of them in general, I think just contradict each other, and like that's why a lot of them are there. It's some of them there. Don't get me wrong, I think some of them are very good pundits. I think Keane can have some great points more than anyone else, but at the end of the day, people are from Sky Sports, from BT, from ITV. They're looking for people, right? Who's going to make the most controversy? Who's going to make for the best TV? Get people talking and get people tuning in again because this person's on TV. That's what a lot of it is about. And to quote Eamon Dunphy a little bit, it is about showbiz, baby.
Yeah. That was an awful corner. Darryl Horgan just overhit a corner again. Shane Duffy coming in. He just looks like he's hating football at the minute, Shane Duffy.
I find it just weird about Shane Duffy. I'm not denying that like he's going through a bad spell with Celtic and everything else like that, but I don't get how everyone's saying like, oh, he's had a horrible start his time at Celtic. He didn't. He scored in his first 2 matches, and it's only really I find since he's came back after last international duty for me. Now maybe just because I've watched more Celtic because of the Europa League and that, but I've only really found it's then that his performances with Celtic were awful. I even remember I can't remember what game it was, but you put up stats for him from a Celtic game on the page. It was one of the games after he scored them 2 goals, and his stats backed up that he was Celtic's best defender in that game. So this theory that he's been awful at Celtic, yes, the last while he's been awful, but not since the day he's joined. So I think there's been a bit of an overreaction. As you touched on, like hating football at the moment, like he's getting a lot of unfair criticism from a lot of people. He's joined a new club, and I know the fans aren't there, but on social media and all that, fans are on your back straight away. That has to affect you. And we all know as well he's had a tough time. 2020 has been a tough time for everyone, but he's had a very, very personal tough time as well. Like he's human at the end of the day. He's the same as everyone else. He's a normal person. Like, that has to affect you no more than it affects anyone. And any player at any stage in their career goes through a bad patch. So I think a lot of what he's getting at the moment is harsh and unfair. And I just feel that I'm glad he's. I know a lot of people saying take him out of the limelight and maybe give him a bit of a break away from the Ireland team. I can see where people are coming from that, but no, I'm glad that he's there tonight, because if he can put in another good, solid defensive space tonight, if he can get a goal, which is mad to think a centre back is one of our major threats, but he is. That's just going to do wonders for his confidence, and then hopefully he can bring that into Celtic, and he can turn their fans and prove their fans wrong.
Yeah, well, I think he is still our main threat. Like the two chances we had so far. Well, we've had two of the three because Robbie Brady hit one over, but have been him. Like, we always do look for him, especially on set pieces, is our strong point, and he's our danger man.
Yeah, like, as you said, even I was just touched on the show last night. Like, I was talking about our last 5 competitive goals. He's got 2 of them, so like in many ways he's nearly one of our leading goal scorers and such a danger man. But I suppose that has a lot of that has to go back to, obviously, a lot of them games touched on would have been under Mick. So obviously we depend a lot on set pieces and stuff like that. Like, we're obviously trying to change that philosophy. So I'm pretty sure Stephen Kenny doesn't want to be having the same conversation come March, come this time next year, that we're still dependent on set pieces, and like Shane Duffy are our main goal scorers. That is coming from creative play, from open play, that is coming from midfielders driving forward, from wingers cutting in, and most importantly coming from strikers. I don't like the way you said "oh" though.
Gareth Bale had a free kick from distance, and I think Darren Randolph tipped it over, but it looked like it was going in. It was just an absolute rocket.
I think I'm just about to see it here now myself.
Yeah, it went straight over, but it was close. Just while we're on the topic there, we're talking about our players, and just someone who does look really, really good. Dara O'Shea, David Salter with another comment in there. He says, Dara O'Shea looks comfortable at this level when you consider he can play anywhere across the back four. He can become such an important player. I think that's true. I think his versatility is excellent, and I think the fact that he can play left back, right back, centre back. I'd probably say he could play like a defensive midfielder if he needed it as well. I just think he's a really intelligent football brain. I think he's a really good player, and he's just so comfortable on the ball. Like, he never looks like he's under pressure. He never looks nervous on the ball. He always looks like he has time on the ball. I think he's slotted straight into both Premier League football and international football seamlessly.
Yeah, and even like the quick transition, this is a lad that this time last year wasn't even playing championship football at West Brom. It wasn't until the Christmas period that Slaven Village brought him in, and West Brom, Slaven Village and Dara O'Shea haven't looked back since. Yeah, like, I know it's very early, I don't want to be kind of putting pressure on him, but as you touched on with that great versatility, he can play anywhere across the back four. Like, there's shades of a potential of maybe of Steve Staunton with him, if you think that he kind of seems to be that similar position he started off as. Well, Steve Staunton was quite versatile as well. Like, considering he started off his career as centre or left back and ended up playing centre back for Ireland a good bit as well. Like, but yeah, John O'Shea actually as well was quite versatile, namesake as well. But yeah, it's great to see kind of his progress, and this is only what I think is his 3rd international cap, and already, like, we're talking about him looking solid and looking so composed for such a young lad. So that's definitely been one of the positives to take from the Stephen Kenny era so far.
He just tackled Gareth Bale as well, as we said.
And this delayed reaction isn't helping me so far.
Yeah, well, the thing about O'Shea is the fact that, like, he's came in, he's just got on with things, and he's a real breath of fresh air. Unless he can stay away from injury, I think he'd be one of those players that we could be looking at for 100+ caps if he keeps going the way he's going.
Yeah, definitely, because I think he's only 21 years of age. For me, I can't understand how he actually he had to wait until Stephen Kenny took over to get into the 21 team, because I remember when James McLean was at West Brom 2 or 3 years ago, McLean was talking up at that time, saying that he looked like he had the potential to be a great defender, and he was on loan with Exeter City playing League 2 football. So I can't, again, it just goes back to the shambles we had in the under 21 previously, and credit that Stephen Kenny has turned that around and kicked us on. But like, why he wasn't being picked more an area on the 21 level, and that we haven't seen more of him. But look, he's here now, and I suppose, look, that's the most important thing, and it's too late to go dwell on the past when it makes no difference. But we're halfway through this first half, Paul, and we far from Gareth Bale's long range free kick, and they had another chance that again just came from us being stopped at the back and given away to them. We've had a couple of decent chances as well. We've had most of the possession. We haven't looked exposed at the back. We look like we're always trying to get forward and make things happen. I think it's been a pretty positive opening 26, 27 minutes.
Yeah, it has. I think we've done well, but again, it's this game's only going to be judged on whether we score or not. So,
Yeah.
all the good work we can do here, that's all well and good, but we do need to score today. I think the amount of games, I think it's 6 games on the bounce without a goal. That needs to be sorted out. And I know we're not a club team and stuff like that. We're not together that often or whatever. But still, I think we need to get a goal, and unless we do, I think people will still be annoyed, and understandably so. But I think, yeah, with with the situation that Gareth Bale's on the pitch, I'll never sit easy here wondering, or until I know that we can kind of keep him quiet, because he's always got a moment of magic in him, and
Yeah.
as we've seen there with that shot, like that nearly dipped in, he is a top class player.
Yeah, and you could say one of the reasons why we've had a pretty good record against Wales in recent times is because Gareth Bale hasn't been on the pitch that much. Like, he wasn't playing last month. He didn't play in that game where we bet them 1-0 and McLean got the winner as well. So, as you mentioned, like, you're always going to be afraid of him because he is the one world class player I think that's on the pitch tonight. Don't get me wrong, I think there's other very good players like Ben Davies for Wales, Doherty for us, Malumbi as well, but he is that kind of one cut above as well. And again, I agree with you. Like, we're talking about, like, it's been a couple of good pauses so far, but again, like, we could go on and continue the same pattern as we are for the next 75 minutes and don't put the ball in the back of the net, and that's going to be the narrative from this game. Is another game without a goal, and this could be one for people to get on to me in the comments. Obviously, Gary would be a great man for this, but of course he's not listening to us at the moment because he's at the game. But I was just doing a bit of research last night. Now, I wouldn't fully trust Wikipedia, but I was looking up a list of our results down through the years. I think if we don't score today as well, I think it'd be the longest ever run we would have gone without a goal. 6 games. We obviously 5 at the moment. We went 5 towards the end of Jack's time, and the first 3 games under Mick McCarthy as well. So if anyone in the comments does know, let us know. But look, we don't want this to be something we were talking about come 90 minutes. We want that goal. We've shown glimpses of it. And let's as you often say with Paul Arm, when we're on top, we need to make it count, and let's hopefully do it today.
Yeah, just Darrell Hogan battling well there with Ben Davies, won the ball back for us further up the pitch. I think he's been quite good. McLean, where are you going? He's kept it in. Oh, he gets a shot off, but the keeper saves it. Good work there by McLean. Oh, thought the ball was going to fall to Almeida, but it didn't. They're now on the counter, but it's not really any danger. Darragh O'Shea has it back, so it's gone.
Yeah, he's done very well there. I'm just seeing it just with his.
Now they're on the counter attack properly, and Kevin Long makes a great interception, and we're back on it now. With that, Matt Doherty sets James McLean on his way. He goes backwards to Robbie Brady, and the ref's given McLean offside. So 30 minutes in, it's 0-0, and I'd say we had the better of the chances so far. But nothing to shout about just yet.
No, so it's similar pattern to what we've been going through. Yeah, just obviously, as I touched on around a couple of seconds behind, we've just seen the tussle that Horgan had with Ben Davies. He's done very well because he kind of, to use the term from rugby or something like that, he turned the ball over from him. Like, he had no right to win that ball. And McLean got a good shot away. The angle was probably a bit too tight, but it was still a good strike. It's still forced. It's Wayne Hennessy using goals for Wales, isn't it?
I think so, yeah.
Or is it? Yeah, well, it's either Hennessy or Johnny Ward. Johnny Ward with goals the other night. But yeah, the fact he had to force keeper into a save obviously shows it was still a meaningful shot, and obviously it was caused issues and caused problems. But yeah, 30 minutes in so far, pretty decent. And like I said, we just really want to kick on it. And yeah, you just touched on it there before. Obviously, you got to talk about a bit of passage play about Darrell Horgan. Yeah, I've been surprised with some of his performance. I thought he's always done okay in Ireland. Sure, I remember that game against the USA a couple of summers ago. I came on at half time. I thought he was one of the people that really turned that game in our favour in the second half, but like, it was only a meaningless end of season friendly, so I couldn't really read too much into it. But I kind of really thought from Ireland point of view his days were done. I didn't think age was on his side as well, but he got a decent move after a decent spell with Hibs to the championship level with Wickham, and after a slow start they're starting to find their feet now, which is good. Like, so if they can stay up, it obviously means Darrell Horgan is probably going to be continuing playing championship football. But I've been really surprised with a couple of his performances. I thought he was bright in this reverse fixture when he came on. thought early on against England he looked quite lively, and as you said, like he's really put himself about tonight, and he's playing his way back into contention for Ireland when it looked as if his Ireland days were probably coming towards an end.
Yeah, well, Stephen Kenny would have obviously known him through Dundalk as
Yeah,
well, so he really rates him, obviously. Um, yeah, he's came in. He's I suppose he's been direct. He's been something that we've been missing. He shows emotion. He shows passion, which is a lot more to be said than O'Dowd, who just for me shows nothing
yeah,
but the fact that he just kind of saunters around. Um, I think the worrying thing with us is if you look around the squad, how many of the players have been there for so long and have never really been taken out of the squad, like Hendrick and Brady and stuff like that. I think it is time to start looking at other players to maybe step up if those players are gone, because Robbie Brady, as good as I think he is, and I think his best days are probably behind him. I'd probably say the same about Hendrick. Um, so it may be time in March to start looking towards the future, and you have your likes of your Josh Cullens and stuff like that who'll be playing regularly. I know it's Anderlecht and stuff like that, but he'll be playing regularly with them, and then you have other players in and around the squad. You wonder, will Jack Byrne get a run? You wonder, has Jack Byrne played his last game in the League of Ireland, and I mean the league, not the cup, because there's still speculation on whether he'll sign his new contract or anything like that as well. So there's a lot of things there to be kind of between now and March that needs to kind of be looked at, I think. But I just said Brady and Hendrick off the top of my head. I'm sure there's more. Long's never really been a regular, has he? As well, he's been happy to sit on the bench at Burnley for long enough as well.
yeah. Like Long as I couldn't believe it. Long as Burnley's longest serving player, but as you mentioned, like he's not even clocked up that many appearances. As you said, like you wonder how he hasn't been getting the loan move. But yeah, you even look at someone like Jimmy Dunn. I know he's not getting his game time with Burnley now, but he got games to start the season. He probably pushed for a loan move again in January. Like
Oh,
he's
get his
young,
one
give him
on
a
one.
chance.
Get a shot off at him. Oh, great tackle. But well, sorry, Jer.
I know you're grand sure there was an important moment there. But yeah, and I agree with you as well. Like Ryan Manning, like mightn't be barking up much trees in championship, but look, they're younger. Start giving these players chances. Like it's mad to think, and I do agree with you about Hendrick and Brady. It's mad to think that we're talking about these players' best days behind them, and they're only 28. Now maybe it's a lot because they've just played so much football, but I haven't seen enough from them from an Ireland point of view over the last couple of years. I think Hendrick, in fairness, there's been improvements in the Kenny era, but Brady, like it is getting to the stage where like it's hard to make a case for him to be in the squad. He's playing very, very little game time. At least Hendrick is still a Premier League regular, so I think he'll always be there. But yeah, and start bringing through some of these players, as you mentioned, like sort of Josh Cullen. There was someone else I was going to say at the top of my head, but it's gone for me. I obviously got lost um in my rant. But yeah, it's just time to kind of start like looking towards more players. Obviously, we're going to look towards a couple more of the 21s. Jason Knight is an example um, of that as well. And the Jack Byrne situation. Do you honestly think that he has played his last game in the League of Ireland? I think it's a tricky situation for Jack Byrne because obviously he wants to challenge himself and wants to look back at the end of the day. Did I push myself and play at the highest possible levels I was capable of? So from that point of view, I was thinking that he probably will be looking for a move from Shamrock Rovers. But then you have to look at this other situations. He's living back home. He's touched on how he's loving that, how he's loving back living with his mother and living with his family. And he's probably also looking at the situation with Shamrock Rovers. There's a good team there. They've won the league. They're on the rise. They've got a good European pedigree for them. Like there's a good chance that they're capable of doing something again in Europe next year, that they could get to the latter stages of a qualifiers. And he's kind of thinking, I've got a chance now to prove myself in the Champions League next year. So it is a tricky one for him, I think. What do you think yourself?
Well, it's good to have options, I think, for him. Just as we were talking about Adamida there, he looks like he's coming off the pitch injured. He's getting treatment on the sideline now. So it looks like Sean Maguire and Ronan Curtis are getting warmed up. But Jack Byrne, yeah, I think. Look, I don't know if I think it was Gary I was speaking with the other night, and I was just saying it about Jack Byrne is that they should be doing more to use him as a marketing tool and make everything about him, and then maybe some other players in the league like Michael Duffy at Dundalk, or just for example, or Danny Grant at Bowes or something like that, and use these players as marketing, to get behind them and get people to come and see them and make them out to be stars, put their faces on billboards, do these types of things. And I think unless we start doing things like that, people like Jack Byrne will just feel underappreciated in regards to the whole league. I know Shamrock Rovers really appreciate him; they love him. But the rest of the league, I don't know. The rest of Irish fans are always calling for Jack Byrne to be played. I wonder how many of them, if he was playing down the road, would actually go and watch him. So there's
Yeah,
all these type of things as well, you know. And look, if he goes, he goes. But I think it would be a great shame for the League of Ireland if he does go. But mind you, I would like to see him show ambition to go to the best club that he could go to, and push on. Like, you look at the Man City team that Jack was in, like he was, and he was starring for them. It's not like Malumbi's getting stuck in here, and he's after getting a yellow card. But Morel's after stamping on him. Um, it's all getting a bit feisty there. Malumbi being his all action self, but I think, look, if Jack Byrne has the ability, shown it, and like he's played against a lot of these players that we're playing against even here now would be championship players. He wasn't that long ago playing the championship. He's playing against AC Milan there recently enough too. So I don't know how Malumbi's got a yellow there, by the way, and the other fella didn't. He got a boot after the ball, and he's given just Malumbi a yellow there. But anyway, I think with Jack, he has choices, and it'll ultimately be up to him. And I totally do not know what he will do, to be honest with you. Oh, he did
yeah,
get a yellow, Morel. He did.
he did. Yeah, he was. I think he was actually the first player to get a yellow card out of himself in Malumbi. Yeah, it's just he goes to pick up the ball. Malumbi, I think, just kind of doesn't know what Malumbi's kind of trying to do. But your man kicks out of them. I think Malumbi was just trying to wind him up more so than anything else like that. But it's a free kick, I think, for Wales now. And Malumbi is actually now out of the Bulgaria game on Monday night or Wednesday night. I keep saying Monday.
Yeah, so just as you're saying there, Robbie Bray just beautifully nutmegged one of their players. It was beautiful. Yeah, Malumbi, he's all action, you see, and that's, I think Stephen Kenny said it before. He wished he'd stop picking up yellow cards, but that takes away from the kind of player that he is, you know. Alameda's back on the pitch and he looks okay, so that's good news.
I think we talk about being all action and getting yellow cards. Like, you could say there's even, I know against Ferrieri's goal making resemblance to these Irish players, to Irish legends, but just going back to Roy Keane, that like that's what was such a great part of his game. Like that he didn't mind picking up the odd yellow card because that was so part of his game that he had to kind of play on the edge to get the best out of himself, and that involved taking the risk with not booking. So what, and you can kind of see there's resemblance in Lumby. There's that kind of fire, that's kind of their feistiness in him, and like the playing on the edge can kind of that can be just his drive motivation. It is annoying and it is frustrating. I get where Stephen Kenny is coming from, but at the same time, like it's what some players do that to get the best out of themselves. Like that playing on the edge is just how they kind of perform to the levels they want to be. Like, but he's been in general, like apart from picking up the City, there's a yellow card. You can't pick any flaws so far in his performance here tonight. Disappointment now that he'll be out of the Bulgaria game on Wednesday, but it does offer an opportunity maybe for someone else to come in, like a Jack Byrne or Josh Cullen, if they could come on tonight and making a good impression.
Yeah, just while you were talking there, McLean went down the left there, and just another player who oh, great defender, Shane Duffy. Another player who we kind of speaking in that mould of the Brady and Hendricks. McLean as well. He gets the ball down the left hand side, goes to take on the man, runs down the line and forgets the ball. They win it back and go up the other end, and other than the Shane Duffy clearance, they were, one pass away from a tap in. But I think it's frustrating with McLean and these types of players because they go out of the team and we're thinking, okay, that's probably the end of it, and then they come back into the team, and then we're wondering, like, I had him in my starting 11 show last night because I feel like he'll show the passion and stuff that we want to see against Wales, but ultimately at the end of the day there's going to be a point where we will need quality to come in as well. I think you would get that with Aaron Connolly probably more so.
Yeah, it is a tough one, but like on that like situation, we are in a situation now where we do have the younger players starting to kind of knock on the door and starting to come through. So it can be a little bit easier to kind of like start freezing these players out. But I suppose there's 6 months after tonight until the next time we play. Like McLean, Stokes player of the season last year, who say he's not going to go in a good run of form again, and you turn around saying can't leave him out. Something could happen at Burnley that a couple of players get injured. Robbie Brady gets his chance. You know how Sean Dyche doesn't like to change a team. So if Brady then hits the ground running, he gets a consistent run of the team, and we're all pointing saying you can't leave him out. So it is It is a tough. I do agree with you. Like, we're looking at these players, and they're at that age profile where they're not kind of going to improve. And how many more opportunities and chances can you get them? I think Conor Hourihane is falling into a similar category. He's not playing regular football now. We have these players like Josh Cullens, Ryan Mannings, Jack Burns, even Darragh Lenihan, although I think centre back is not an area we're too concerned about in terms of players and options. But like, you're starting to think like, right, start giving these players a little bit of chance. They're at that age profile now. You can work with them a little bit more, and you can kind of get a little bit more out of them.
Yeah, well, that's true. I think actually Robbie Brady's been showing some nice touches and flicks here. As much as I might be giving him a stick, but I just think it's crazy that like on from the Euros, how a lot of these players are still kind of in the team and they're not showing great potential. I think you would have thought like Robbie Brady would have kicked on at club level, and you thought with Robbie Brady's ability that he'd be at a top club, you know, ranging from the top 7, top 8 clubs in England. You would have thought that Robbie Brady would be getting in a team like that, but probably that's just down to injuries and stuff like that. But I think he definitely had the quality. Whether that's an Irish bias, I don't know. I could be wrong, but I think McLean's had his best days are behind him as well, and someone like Jason Knight coming in there. If Zach Elbazetti maybe starts doing stuff at Lincoln, you never know what could happen with him. Then you have Troy as well, who could obviously play out wide if he's needed. So there's all these options as well that we need to think of as well. As Matt Doherty's on the ball, but he loses it. McLean on bail there. Robbie Brady over the bar. That was a terrible shot.
Just like continuing on from that point, like, you have to remember as well, Aaron Connolly, no, that's not fit and available. Callum Robinson as well, Premier League player for us. Alan Brown, I think, has had a couple of decent enough performances for us. As well, like, so, and then you could even look is an answer to our goal scoring situation by getting on to Patrick Branford and begging him and pleading him. I know there's a lot of people out there that don't want to do that. Like, a lot of people with the opinion he's not showing interest in us. We're not going to go around spending off desperation. But then the other people like, look, Jack had no problem getting on to people that had no interest in football and playing for Ireland. He managed to charm them into it. He must obviously have a good way with his words. Jack, we know, is a character, like, so he was probably well able to do that. And it works in the player. And there's a lot of players that would have played for Jack under Ireland's time who had no interest in playing for us. And if we could possibly do the same as well with Patrick Bamford, because he's hitting the ground running in the Premier League. And if there was a situation where we had Bamford on board, or if he was signed in with us and committed to us when like Mick showed interest in him, and he was available for every one of Kenny's games, so we'd be talking about completely different talking points now. Like,
I'm not convinced by Bamford. I think he's having a good spell of form at the moment. Oh, that was awful by Horgan. He's having a good spell at the moment, but ultimately he's not. I don't think he's an international standard striker, and I don't think he's anything that we need to be, worrying over or, making a big deal about him. I don't care about him. If there was other players, the ones that we had and got away are obviously the big ones that will probably go on and do well for England, So unfortunately that is the case. Unfortunately, I felt as though we handled things very, very badly. It's one of those things. I actually like the fact that Stephen Kenny's bringing through a lot of these homegrown players, and they're starting to do well in the leagues that they're in, whether it's Championship, Premier League, or whatever League One. I think they're starting to do well. I think they'll only gain from it in the future. I think someone like Darragh O'Shea, I think he could go on and play for a top club in the future. Just as I'm saying that there, the ref's blown for half time, so it's half time here. It's 0-0. Shane Duffy looks really annoyed. I mean, if you're looking at the chances, Bale and Doherty are having a laugh amongst each other there. But if you're looking at the chances, probably say we had the better chances and we got into best positions. But again, it's the same story. We're not scoring goals, and it's going to affect us unless we start scoring goals.
Yeah, I think of the Bamford situation. Like, the only reason I think we're entertaining it is because obviously, as you said, he's on that good spell of form at the moment. And like, yeah, I think it's hard to disagree with you said, like, is he really a good Premier League striker? We don't really know. And to be honest, we won't really know until next season. How often have we seen players have a good spell or have just a good season and then they turn out to be second season flops and then don't kick on. So, but the only reason I said that we're talking about them is because we don't have anyone scoring goals, and people are going to look to and say like, well, there's your link, there's your possibility, there's your chance for something for someone who's in good form and playing well. But just overall thoughts on that first half. Yes, very, very similar to a lot of our games. We're doing okay. We're competing. We don't look over depth. We're trying to make things happen. We're not actually being exposed at the back. Wales are not cutting us open despite some of their obvious attacking threats like Bale. We're just obviously lacking a little bit of a cutting edge up front, as we know, and that's unfortunately something that you can't just change overnight. It's something that we're working on, but we had a couple of good chances in that first half, so there is something to build on for that second half. And I think Stephen Kenny will go on Spurs at half time saying, look, didn't do a lot wrong. There's not a lot to be too negative about.
Yeah, but I think we're gonna have chances in the second half to bring on subs and stuff like that. I think the best thing what we've done is we've kept their attackers quiet, so I think that's a big positive. But we need to, as I keep saying, we just need to put the ball in the net. It's just simple as that.
Absolutely, 100%. And like I said, that's all the people are going to look to as their main narrative, their main talking point from this game is if we don't get a win, it's another game, another toothless performance, which isn't always true. Another game without cutting edge, going nowhere, no progress, which we all know isn't true. So hopefully we can just get that and get the 3 points. I've seen a comment there as well. Finland are beating Bulgaria 2-0. So if we can get the win, it guarantees third spot and then makes Wednesday's night game a kind of a chilled, relaxed environment and almost a friendly kind of type atmosphere. I think in terms of third seed, Paul, I think that's pretty much confirmed now. Slovakia bet Scotland 1-0 today, so they've got more ranking points. So I think we're probably condemned towards third seed. But look, as I said last night, like that's on past results, that's on past form. There's nothing we can do about it now. And look, we'll deal and worry about that when draws and stuff like that are made.
Yeah, well, look, we knew that this was going to happen, and if you're not good enough, then people are going to go above you in the rankings. It's as simple as that. We can't keep making excuses and hoping that we get this team, that team. We need to start showing what we can do as well. And again, I very much think we're in this game. I thought we've been in all the games under Stephen Kenny so far, and Slovakia, so I don't have this idea that we're this terrible team that barely do anything. We have created chances, as been seen, but we just don't have the, I suppose, quality or confidence in front of goal at the moment that other teams may have.
Absolutely, like as we touched on last night, this idea that it's the worst Ireland team ever, and this standard, it's not. Like there's good players there, there's players playing a good standard, and there's a lot of young players that are always going to take time to get through. And sometimes with a process and a redevelopment and a period of transition, of which we're going through at the moment, things sometimes get worse before they get better, and like, that's maybe a little bit of a case here. So, like it's just as we said it before, like kind of a bit blue in the face now. Like there's a lot of overreaction out there, and like I said, I'm just really annoyed as well that like the way people are even turning against Stephen Kenny in Ireland. Like it's international football. We're Irish. We're a small country. We're a small nation. Like we're known for having great fans. Like we stick together. Like, and I'm really annoyed with kind of the way that like there's people out there that probably actually even want Ireland not to win tonight, so Stephen Kenny could be removed from a job. Which look, that's not going to happen. Even if we lose tonight, even if we lose Wednesday, face the facts that Stephen Kenny is still going to be in charge come March. So like he's going to be there for at least the next campaign. So just work with him and get behind him and get that kind of belief and confidence and will to want to see the team do well and the management team.
Yeah, well, there's just people out there in general who are just negative people, and they just want an excuse to bash the team. Or like I remember being in, what bar was it? It was in the Mercantile in town, and Ireland were playing Gibraltar, Mick's first game when all the Delaney stuff came out that day. It was that game, and then there was a guy who came in. He came in with Ken Early from the second captains, and I remember just
that's right, yeah.
The whole time he just sat there abusing the team and saying, "Oh, I hope we lose. I hate Mick," and all this. I was just like, "You're Irish. How are you not? Like, regardless of what you think of a manager, why would you not want to see your country win a game of football if you're a football fan? You're there watching. You could be there cheering for Gibraltar. Remember, Dan Randolph made a brilliant save, and he was almost cheering it going in. Like, I actually was raging sitting there myself beside him. Don't know his name or anything like that, but
What was Canary like?
the usual. Just looked like he was stoned.
Of course, speaking of just being negative, I suppose it is something as well from a talking point from today. We could talk about here for halftime. I know you might want to talk about a small bit, Paul, but it is one of the other big talking points from today that relegation playoff 1-0 victory for Longford. Obviously, great to see them back in the Premier Division for the first time since 2016. But obviously disappointment, of course, and obviously it's a tough day for yourself and Shelburne. Just 1 year back up. It was all hope and optimism this time last year, and even after a good start to the season, it's disappointing now that Shelburne find themselves back in the same situation as they were prior to the 2019 season.
It's a nightmare. It's an absolute nightmare for Shells. It's been a nightmare of a day. The 21's losing. Shells getting relegated. It's just been a terrible day in that regard. And going to watch Shells in the last number of games they have, they've really been affected by having no fans. And I really did not predict Shells going down this season because of the way we'd started, because of the way the fans and the team were, really connected, and it was starting to see signs of real progress there. And then COVID came along, and then when after COVID, Chelsea just did not look like the same team. They really feed off the energy of the crowd, and obviously there's no crowd now. Really bad disciplinary record, really bad. And again, another red card today, and I think that was the difference. I watched the game on Watch LOI, and I felt as though, some of the tackles by Luke Byrne, the first one he just didn't need to do on Manley. Like, he was going nowhere. All he had to do was stand him up, and he kind of dived in, got a yellow card. 3 minutes later, he gets a second yellow for a foul in the box, which I wouldn't really hold it against him for the foul in the box, because it's just one of those things where if a player goes down in the box, more often than not, the penalty's going to be given. It was just one of those where it was a coming together. It wasn't really his foul, it was more of a coming together, and that's just what happened. And then they missed the resulting penalty. Shells dug in, but it's been the story of the season with them the last 10 games or so. Just haven't been able to score. Just don't look like scoring. It's like Ireland, but worse. They just leave Kilduff isolated a lot of the time, and then hope in the second half that if Kilduff can tire the teams out for long enough, then bring on Dobbs and he might run the channels and we might catch him on the break. That's the way it's been, and then hoping that someone like Ryan Brennan can pop up with a couple of goals here and there, and it's just not fair on the likes of Kilduff and stuff like that. He's just constantly so far away from the rest of the players, and it's been like that the whole season. And as I mentioned, with red cards and stuff, I think Carl Shepard got a red card up in Finn Harps. We ultimately won that game. Luke Byrne got a red card there a few weeks ago against Finn Harps. Again, that was probably harsh, but the ref, he got sent off again then when he came back into the team. And there's been a fair few, Gary Deegan got sent off needlessly against Shamrock Rovers as well. So it's a really bad disciplinary record within the Shells team, and it's cost. A lot of players missing today again. But yeah, it's just well done to Longford and stuff like that. But I'm purely being selfish here, and I just think it's an absolute nightmare situation for Shelburne.
Yeah, think back to the before the 2019 season when Ian Morris came in and the redevelopment they made of that squad and the big push they put in to get out of the first division. You think that they were probably even looking a little bit ahead and thinking, we're not just thinking to pull a squad here to get out of the first division. We're building a squad that would be able to go up and hold their own in the Premier Division and kick on and to be back to square one. I think is a disappointment for them. Just, I suppose, if you were to kind of go and look and make excuses and everything else like that, would you kind of even say that Shelburne maybe were a little bit unlucky, because towards the end, you did pull some great results out of the bag. You bet Waterford away, you bet Sligo at home. It looked like he'd done enough to avoid the relegation playoff, and no one really seen Harps' great run coming towards the end. No one seen him going to Bows and winning, and then winning 2 of their last 3 games at home. So do you think from a little bit from that point of view that they've just been a little bit unlucky and just had the hard work done and just didn't foresee Finn Harps going on a fantastic run?
Well, ultimately you have to win games yourself, Jay. You can't be relying on other teams. That's why I hate this thing. It's the same with Ireland. We're always relying on another team to get a result and stuff. Should be able to put the games in our own hands. I hate that. Relying on other teams' results. I really, really do. I think if you if you want to be into the Premier Division, you have to win your games. It's simple as that. Chelsea didn't. Finn Harps did, and again, fair play to them. But it's hard for me to take, considering the hard work that went in to get Chelsea up this to win the league, and then the struggle before that. Years of struggle in the first division. Is that going to be the case again now? We've seen teams going down and struggle to get back up. Bray, Cork are going down now as well. They'll probably be favourites to come back up next season, even though Shells are probably better than them this year. The league table would say that, but not much better. So there is all these things to take into consideration as well. Cabo have been good the last number of years as well. So there's a number of teams that are going for the first division as well. Galway will be there with Caulfield. So it's going to be hard going into that first division next year and trying to get straight back up.
Yeah, even looking at it now, like you're looking at some very, very tasty and mouth-watering games in that first division next year. You mentioned like Shells and Cork, like as you touched on at the start of the season, like that game 10 or 15 years ago was one of the standout fixtures in the Premier Division. Bray obviously recently Premier Division side. Galway built really strongly towards the end of the season on John Caulfield, so they'll feel that they're on an upward curve and they'll give themselves a right good chance. And UCD, they always produce good players and always play good football. They'll never be easy. So yeah, it is going to be interesting. Like you said, like it's hard maybe not for you to be so negative because it took Shelbourne so long to get out of the first division. Finally, after breaking free, you're back down there again, and it's hard not to think like, is this just going to be another struggle? And you touched on like, I know everyone was affected without having fans, but as you said, like because it was Shelbourne's first time back up in so long, it brought a lot of people back to the club, and you sold out your two home games, and there's no doubt about it. Only for this COVID, you probably would have sold out every other 17 or 18, whatever amount of home games you would have had left that season. Do you kind of feel now, even as well, next season, if we are in a situation where we can get crowds back into talk of that, then fans that had come back are suddenly like, yeah, I know there's live football back and I waited a long time, but you know what? I just don't fancy watching Shelbourne because of where they are back again now.
Well, the first division is looked upon as a graveyard. Do you know what I mean? No one really enjoys, other than probably Paul Tierney. Not many people enjoy going to the first division games. Do you know? So, uh, it's a tough sell to people. I think the RTC League itself, the Premier Division, is a tough sell for a lot of people because it's been marketed so badly and it's been ran so badly in previous years. I'd say it's getting better now though. Yeah, and I think yeah, it's just hard for me
Mm.
to imagine now next season having to go to some of the places that like Cove and these types of places, in Cork twice, in Galway and Athlone, and yeah, it's not going to be that enjoyable, as a Shells fan. And it's not taking away from any of the clubs or anything like that, but just purely as a Shells fan, it's just not going to be that enjoyable. I enjoyed being able to go and watch Shells test themselves against the best teams in the Premier Division. And I thought at times we put it up to them. When we had a full strength team, I felt as though we did put it up to them. There was times when we put it up to Dundalk. We got beat 2-1 by them. Then Rovers and Tala, we drew 0-0 with them. And there was games where we were really in games and didn't look out of place, as I said. Some of the teams we've come up against have obviously had that quality, your Dundalks and so on. But it was just great to see Shells back amongst it. I think it was great in terms of the league. It was having someone with a great fan base, and I think there is going to be that fan base that are a little bit, fickle and only come when Shells are in the Premier Division. That will happen naturally. That happens at most clubs. If Dundalk were getting relegated tomorrow, I think the same thing would happen.
Yeah.
I think Rovers as well, they wouldn't have the crowds they were having. They would still have crowd. So I think it's easy to go and say, oh, well, the fans won't turn up if they're in the first division. We don't know yet. We will see. If the fans can turn up and some of them might be afraid of getting stick that they only followed Chelsea when they were in the Premier Division and might actually stick with them. So hopefully that's the thing that pushes them to keep going to games and keep cheering the team on, and then hopefully in this time next year Shells are promoted again, whether it's through a playoff or possibly champions again.
Yeah, one thing is definitely guaranteed. Paul's here, and he'll be going to a lot of Shelburne games next year. A good man for covering the first division next year. And I suppose if you want a bit of a positive, Paul, some of them away places that you named up in the first division, like they're all good spots for a night out. If you want to look at it from that point of view, Cork, Cove, Galway, Athlone, even Bray, we all know is a great away day down by the seafront from the Dart. Like, so, if all going well and fans are out back in and everything's back to normal, there is that positive to look at. I know it's very hard to look at it at the moment that way.
No, that's not a positive for me. Anyway, it might be for you, but
I'm actually looking at that and thinking, like, I wouldn't mind going to a couple of Shells away games next year. But look, that's for another day. We are back on the way here in the second half. So I think I'm correct in saying, Paul, no changes from either team as the rain is now buckling down in Cardiff.
I don't think so. Not that I can see right now, but if we do, we will update. We're just going to update the score there in front of us. Right. No, I don't think there is any changes or anything like that. But I would like to see us now start the second half good and proper and start getting a few chances and burying a goal.
Yeah, I think so. Myself, I think all of us want watching on for the second half. And like I said, with the result going the other way into the game, it'd be nice if we can go into Wednesday night's game already guaranteed 3 points. That just brings me on to something kind of just a little bit away from on the field matters. But you're obviously going to be there Wednesday night covering the game for the channel. You've covered numerous home games down through the years. What's it kind of been like, even from your point of view, from a media point of view, from, say, these couple of home games, obviously with the situation we're in now, to what it was like under the Mick McCarthy qualifier games for Euro 2020, when obviously there was more media people in, you weren't as spaced out, full houses. Like, how have you kind of found the changes and difference, and what kind of different, I suppose, routines you kind of have to go through?
It's not enjoyable. I enjoy going to games purely the atmosphere with the fans. Oh, well done, O'Shea, get out of there. Gareth or Darren Randall makes a save. Just regarding your question. Look, I thrive off the buzz of going to watch Ireland and the fans and going and having a pint before the game and interacting with people and talking to people and feeding off their energy and stuff like that. Going to the ground, people singing, and there's none of that. You do literally feel like you're going to watch have you ever been to an open training session for Ireland?
No.
Well, it's like that. So basically, media are allowed to come in. There's usually a couple of stragglers and stuff like that, and they come in. You're allowed to train and watch it. So it's like that, but you're watching up in the media box, and everyone's kitted out and stuff like that. But you miss the atmosphere when the national anthem's being played. Oh, unlucky. When the national anthem's being played, so much pride in that when you're surrounded by how many thousand Irish people, now there's none of that. You look around, it's just all empty. You're just surrounded by journalists. You're surrounded by, all these people, commentators and stuff like that. And some of them, in my opinion, they thrive off Ireland doing badly, so they have a negative headline. Some of them, they are genuine fans, and they want to see Ireland doing well. So, yeah, look, I would much rather be watching it with how many thousand Irish fans. Because when you look to your right and you see someone that you absolutely don't know, and they don't know you, and they're almost grabbing you all across the fence, it's pretty cool. Whereas now it's just you're looking around. Obviously, there hasn't been a goal scored, so you can't celebrate a goal. But you'd be wondering how you could celebrate a goal if there was,
Yeah, it's weird. Like, even from my own experience from being the League of Ireland, like the first Premier Division game I covered when I came back was St. Pat's versus Finn Harps back in August. I think just that game, just because of the buzz of being back covering the game and being back around Richmond and the bus journey and the walk in, I think there was just a little bit of buzz and excitement surrounding that and everything else like that. But I've kind of found for the last couple of games that's gone, because now you've had your first taste of being back in live football and you realised, apart from just being nice and being great to be there, as you said, there's nothing else to go off. There's no crowd, there's no buzz or anything else like that. There's no meeting up with people before the games and stuff like that. there's no even kind of mingling that much with people after matches, whether it's just chatting to a couple of the journalists and press people that you get to know down through years from covering games. That's all kind of gone and dead, and is a little bit sad. Don't get me wrong, it's great. I still love going to games because, especially with the level 5 restrictions, it's nice to have any excuse to get out of the house and stuff like that and pass a couple of hours in the evening. But no, apart from that, there isn't much else. Just seeing Robbie Brady's free kick that floated in, and no one else got on the end of it. If you want to say more about it, Paul.
No, that was about 2 minutes ago for me.
Yeah.
Shane Duffy was marshalled well there by Wales number 6 there, the big lad who's been giving Adam Ida a bit of trouble. They know what our danger is, and they're just trying to prevent that. So I think he was a bit far out to be trying that type of cross. But anyway, I think at any opportunity we do try to do that, Ireland. I think that's one thing that Stephen Kenny hasn't shied away from as well, is that he hasn't stopped those kind of techniques and stuff like that we've had in terms of our set pieces and stuff like that. They look like very similar to what they were under Mick. I wonder, has he had any say in, like, don't change any of that, because that was obviously a strong point for us.
I would say so. Set pieces is a great platform for any team to score from, and something that every team works on. It's like you said, especially with Ireland, who have been such a strong platform for us. If they ain't broken, don't fix it. So I think that is definitely carried on. Yeah, I think that's actually one thing that's really impressed me. In fairness, you can't actually fault Brady's deliveries. Like, there wasn't really a lot wrong with that delivery. He got into the right area. Similar one to the first half that Duffy got a header onto as well. Like, so that's definitely one avenue I'm still looking at that could be a good place for us to get a goal, is if Brady is able to last the 90 minutes, which is obviously going to be something you're not sure of with his lack of football, that there's a good chance that if he keeps up that quality delivery, eventually one of them will pay off. Just go back to your earlier point as well, just a little bit off topic, but you touched about going from points before the game. Where was your main spot that you would have hit pre-match back in the good days when we were allowed into matches?
Usually used to go to the Ballsbridge Hotel. Used to go there.
Oh, yeah.
I'd meet loads of people, and then you'd meet people who were fans of the channel, and you'd meet people who are subscribers of the channel or whatever. You obviously wouldn't know because you don't see their picture or whatever, and they'd be talking to you and stuff like that. So that was pretty cool. And any other places I've really gone? No, I normally just go there because it's handy to just walk around to the Aviva then from there, So kind of around that Ballsbridge area, but mainly the Ballsbridge Hotel. You? Yeah,
it's only 2-3 minute walk. I mainly, first when I started kind of going to matches, I mainly would have like these were my college days, like, so I'd be coming in after college. We would head to Searson's, which is just up there on Bagot Street as well. Usually always a good crowd and a good buzz. And there's obviously has a reputation of being a rugby pub, but on Ireland match day, it's swamped with football fans. It's good to see. The last while, it's mainly more so been the Grand Canal Hotel, just the gasworks there as well, which would be the opposite side to the Ballsbridge Hotel. Like a lot of the time, like I'd finish work at 4:30 or 5 o'clock the day of an Ireland game. I work by IFSC, by the Docklands. So you're in a walking distance. So sometimes you could even stop off in a couple of pubs along the way and get a bit of a pub crawl in. It's always a great buzz. I love, like, even as you touched on there, going into the pub and there's a good crowd and there's a good buzz, especially for the big games, like the games against the likes of the Gibraltars and Georgias. It's hard to kind of get more of them, but like the likes of the Denmark game, the Switzerland game, the Wales game in particular in the last campaign, like I think even sometimes as well when the opposition fill out the away end, I think it's good because I actually like that mingling, that interacting with opposition fans, because it's good crack, like, because loads of people like the Irish fans as well. So as you said, like that, even that just gets you pumped up and gets you going for the game as well.
Yeah, just looking at Darrell O'Shea there, he just won the ball off Bale there, and they have to give him a foul. He clattered it.
Yeah, it's just come up for me as well. Yeah. Bale's gone down a bit. Yeah, he got the ball.
Yeah, no, he did win the ball, but it's just the Bale gets those types of decisions, especially in Cardiff.
Yeah, because your name can carry you a long way.
Well, this is it. But I think I've been impressed with Darrell O'Shea, the way he's not been afraid to get stuck into the likes of Bale. Well done, Hendrick. Hendrick actually winning the tackle.
Just another interesting point. I know I'm kind of going to be talk about pubs and everything else like that, but it's one I've actually never, maybe because I never covered a game in Talca Park, But where would have been the main spot for Shelbourne fans to meet pre-match? I know obviously you have the clubhouse there as well, but even like if people didn't go to the clubhouse, where would Shelbourne fans have mainly hit around Drumcondra or Fairview?
I don't know because I wouldn't have. I've been going out like as a work person. I wouldn't really be going as
Yeah.
um. And the way I get over is 16 straight over. So normally when I get over, it's just straight into the ground. So there's no time for going meeting people for points. But when I played Bowes, there was one pub with all the fans were in. What was the name of it? It was near Bowes Stadium. It was near Dalymount. McLean's done well here. Can he get the ball in? Hang on. He goes back to Darrow O'Shea, crosses it in, it gets deflected. It's headed away. And it's dangerous. Aborted. There was some pub. It's down by the Apache Pizza between Dalymount and Talcott. I can't remember the name of it, but Jason Knight's coming on actually now.
Oh, would be Kent? No, not Kent. McGrath's, was it?
I think that might be the name of it, but
Yeah, Paddy McGrath's. Yeah.
That's where a lot of Shells fans were that day, and that was good. I think they were the Ultras that day, but it was Shells against Bowes. It was one of Shell's first games of the season. They lost to Bowes after an impressive start. Oh, Malumbi's got trounced there.
Looks like Jason Knight is coming on.
Yeah, he is. He should be on now when this free kick is taken. Stephen Kenny's in his ear. Oh, it'd be unbelievable if he scored.
Brilliant, yeah. Well, that's unbelievable if anyone scores, really, to be brutally honest.
People asking in the comments how long is left. It's in the 56th minute, so over half an hour. He's not coming on just yet. Robbie Brady has a free kick in a similar position from the last one, and he looks like he's going to be aiming to hit that area and try and find one of our attackers or defenders, if you want. Shane Tuffy. It's defended again by Wales, and they have it on their box. But Brady picks it up again. He tries to play in Shane Duffy, but they weren't on the same wavelength. And now it's back in our half with Jeff Hendrick, who goes back to Darren Randolph. We're in the 57th minute, and Jason Knight is about to be introduced. I'm not sure for who just yet. Could be, yeah, it's been a tough one to figure out who he might actually take off, but it'd be interesting at the same time. Let's see the comments. Any decent comments? No decent comments anyway. Horgan's gone off. Jason Knight is on. Yeah, no comments. Just strange people commenting strange things that don't have any relevance to the game. So we'll leave them to it. Again, Darragh O'Shea getting the better of Gareth Bale there on the right hand side, but on left back position. Shepherd's it out for the goal kick. They look like they're bringing on Kiefer Moore. So it'll be interesting to see if that means Gareth Bale will come off now, because obviously Spurs will want to keep him wrapped under cotton wool, and I don't think this game will mean that much to Wales, whatever really way it goes, you know.
No, I think as you touched on for Wales, it's just a case really seeing out these two matches. They look certain to hold on to their second season. They've been in a good position for the World Cup draw. Kiefer Moore, obviously, it's very much a big physical man. You're what you kind of class as your typical old school British striker. So you expect maybe Wales to go a little bit more direct with him coming on and kind of get the long balls in and maybe try and physically bully us in that centre back area.
Say that again. Oh, I'll keep it more bullying. I don't think so. I think Shane Duffy, kept him fairly quiet in the Aviva. Whether it's because he picked up an early yellow card or what, I don't know. But I think I wouldn't say he bullied him. I know Shane Duffy did get bullied by Harry Maguire the other day, and it was after that international break that you spoke about was when he kind of came into that period of poor form for Celtic. After that, because he was good in the last international break, I thought.
He was very good. He was definitely one of our. He was probably our man of the match in that game against Slovak, and just even with the situation with Celtic, I don't want to kind of just draw on too much as well. But it's not even as if Celtic are in a good run of form. It's not been helped by the fact that Celtic have had a couple of poor results. That Neil Lennon is under pressure as well. Like so, it's not like as if he's the only player that isn't kind of contributing to or has having a good spell with Celtic at the moment. Really,
Yeah, it's just I feel sorry for him as well, as because anytime he does anything, it's like magnified 100 times. Look, I think he'll come good. I just think he probably needs some time to adapt to playing for a team like Celtic, who are expected to win nearly every game. Here's a good bit of play here by Ireland. Knight gets the ball in behind, gives it out to McLean, gives it to Hendrick. McLean gives it back. Or sorry, Hendrick gives it back to McLean. Gets it into the box, and Adamina, oh, he gets a chance, but he nearly scores. It's gone out for a corner. I thought he was gonna bury that. Oh,
keep my hopes up.
he's getting mine up too, but he's done well because the ball got whipped in by McLean, and their defender got his first touch was poor, and Anita came across. I thought he was gonna take him down. It's 17 coming off. Who's that now? Um,
Yeah, it was good to see Hendrick heavily involved as well in the build up to that chance, playing some good passing and looking to get on the ball as well, which is very, very good. Not just kind of stopping and wiring his pass and driving forward as well. Yeah, just for a second I thought it was going to fall nicely from there, but the Wales defender got back very well. But look, we've got a corner, we've kept the momentum alive, we've kept the chance alive, so hopefully something will come from this.
no, it's Shane Duffy
Ah,
again.
damn it.
Well, it looks like it could come off. Yeah, Gareth Bale was marking him. Um, yeah, he went over the bar, well over, or wide, or whatever way you want to put it. I don't know what the story is with some of the comments. They're madness, like just weird. Like nothing to actually. I don't even think they're watching the same game as us. They're talking about different score lines and stuff. We're really starting to get amongst it here. Jason Knight's getting around. Oh, I would love to see Knight or Malumbi get a goal. Oh, it's a hearty. What are you doing? But we
Probably
definitely.
if I, as I said, I don't really mind who scores a goal or to even take an own goal at this stage. But I think just from a point of view is that we're looking for someone to get a good return for us and have a prolific career in a green shirt. It'd be great if Adam Maya could get that early goal and get that monkey off his back early on and just kind of like kick on. Because it'd be great for him for a young lad, and maybe that goal as well. If you get on Ireland duty, it carry that confidence into him with Norwich, and hopefully can help him kick on and get a bit more game time there. I know he's obviously been unfortunate; he got that red card with them lately. So, um, but as you said, even
Yeah,
Malumbi Knight, two young lads, if they were to get a score as well, it could be the moment that could help kickstart their Ireland careers as well. Although, as we touched on already, Malumbi so far has had a promise, and him and Doherty, I think, or not Doherty, sorry, him and O'Shea have really kind of been the two most impressive players to come into this team over the last couple of weeks.
yeah. Just Doherty had a bit of a half chance there. Good bit of play between himself and Jason Knight. And he kind of just you'd wish that that chance fell to his right foot rather than his left foot there, and he then had to give a pass in, tried to give a 1-2 with Robbie Brady, and then he just couldn't get on the end of it. But it was kind of awkward anyway, to be honest. I would like to see us bring on someone on the left, maybe for McLean. He looks like he's ran himself into the ground and has no energy left. Um, just when we were talking there, Lawrence and Davis came off there for Kiefer Moore, so they're keeping Bale on, and then Dan James as well. So they look like they're going for it here, Wales.
I suppose they maybe are looking at it from a point of view if things do go wrong in the qualifying campaign, top in the group does guarantee you a playoff. So maybe they, as you said, maybe they are going for it. They want to hold on to that top
Oh,
spot and like
Kiefer Moore got booked for diving in the
off you.
penalties for it looked like he was going to give a penalty, and he got booked for diving there. Davis whipped in a ball, and Shane Duffy kind of was just coming across. The bodies came together, but that's that's shocking, shocking dive. But he's been booked. It's a free out to us, and you'll see it there now in a sec.
Yeah, it's just come up for me. He's just got the yellow card there. Just another stat flashed up on the screen there. So total attempts, we've had more. We've had 7 to their 6. So it's a good sign. I have been just a little bit disappointed. I know the second half is still early enough. There's still a long way to go. But apart from that adding either chance, we haven't really kind of looked like even creating too many chances in the second half. We've maybe not as much control in this game as we have. Maybe just give credit to Wales that they're going through maybe their purple patch in this game. They've upped the ante a little bit, but still can't help but feel that this could have 0-0 written all over with 25 minutes to go. I hope I'm so wrong.
Yeah, but I take a 0-0 over a 1-0 loss, but I would love to see us just win. You know, we've done it before. Obviously, McLean in 2017, we've done it before. Smash and grab. I'd love to see us get a smash and grab 1-0 result. Oh, well done, Duffy. Get rid. 1-0. Brooks.
Great. That's great. Just after my comment saying this game looked like it's going to end 0-0, the worst thing has just happened. We've actually conceded.
Yeah, the replay's going to come up now, but I thought we could have defended that better. There's a bit of play on the right hand side. I think it's Dan James. He whips in a ball. Shane Duffy and Kevin Long kind of get tangled between each other. It's headed back across goal by Gareth Bale. After it comes over the back of Doherty, and then Brooks come in and gets ahead of Kevin Long to head it home for 1-0. We're at 6s and 7s there for the goal. Like, you wonder why Randolph can't come and claim that.
I'm just looking at the replay here myself. Who was it? Doherty just gets out jumped as well, like by Bale, as you mentioned. Duffy's header probably wasn't the most convincing in the first place, and David Brooks is just there at the right place at the right time. As you said, like it was a decent enough cross as well from Dan James. He got into the right area. It's just so disheartening, deflating, like as well. Like when you're a team that's not high on confidence as we are at the moment, concede a goal and go behind, it's just not going to help the situation. But hopefully that there's that bit of character, that bit of pride, that bit of kick still in the players that they can get themselves back into this game and we can take something from this game. Because again, as we touched on, like while it hasn't maybe been a vintage performance, it's not been a bad performance. You can see what we're trying to do again. Like,
yeah, and I think that's been the biggest thing that keeps on happening to us is that we've been playing well in games, then we're just not getting the results or goals. The ball whipped in here now. It's a comfortable save. Some fellas saying the volume on your mic is far too loud, very annoying.
Yeah, I've actually noticed that a couple of times with me doing these. I'm just going to maybe push it back a bit further away from myself. So
I don't know. Maybe my one's low compared to yours, so maybe that's what it is. John Mooney says, just started listening to you and I put the mockers on his bet.
hopefully there will be still at least one more goal in this game, hopefully in favour of Ireland. We've only made the one substitution so far, Paul. We're entering that stage now. The game is reaching its final chapter. Like, who would you like to see kind of come on and you feel that in the situation that we are, that can get that kick and can get that goal and have that creative spark for us?
At this point, I would see no harm in trying to bring Jack Byrne into the team. I mean, what harm could it do? What he brings is, his passing range, his corner kicks. He assists goals so much. So why not have him in there? I think anyway. I just think it's a bit. It's the type of game to bring him into now, I think. What about you?
Yeah, I suppose I'll be looking at it from like a point of view that obviously I think Jack Byrne is just someone I just want to see what he's like at this level. Just throw him in there and see, as you said, like his he said he can offer something from set piece as well. He'll look to try and get on the ball. He'll look to try and drive forward and make things happen and passes and stuff like that as well. I think maybe it's no harm to get another striker on the pitch as well because we need a goal. Would someone like Shane Maguire be your man for that? Probably more so than someone like James Collins because you think he has more legs. As you touched on, Ronan Curtis is an attacking option. He's come off the bench and made a couple of good impacts. Could it be a chance for him to maybe come on and build on that little bit of reputation that he's building for himself? I'd just like to see a couple of changes because it's got to that stage. It's 70 minutes. We've only made one change. There's got to be tired legs out there now at this stage. Freshen things up and just try and... Sorry?
Howard's coming on now.
Not the player I've been looking for, but I suppose if we're talking about set pieces, maybe he is your man for that.
Maybe, but yeah. Well, we'll have to see.
It's not an inspiring substitution, I think, now in my mind.
Yeah, there's 20 minutes left in the game anyway. Still people are complaining about the sound noise to me, saying I'm too low now. Literally, my doorbell just rang there and 2 new mics came, so I can assure you for the next video or watch along or whatever, it'll be perfect. So apologies for today, and we'll have that sorted out for the next video. Okay. Just don't listen to my headphones and just hire it up fully. Put your phone away beside you, and you can just listen to us if you're watching. Yeah, coming to the 71st minute now, and we're just passing around our defence here. No real urgency about us. I still think as though we feel like there's time in the game. Shane Duffy gives the ball away, trying to play it out from the back. Brooks is on the attack. Robbie Brady covers well. And it's still in our half. Matt Doherty has it, Jason Knight has it in Matt Doherty's position. And it's our throw.
And you said like 20 minutes. I know we're obviously we're into that stage where the game is coming towards its conclusion now. We're inside the last kind of like quarter, if you want to say the half, but still a decent chunk of time to get a goal. I think at this stage, we'd probably even just take a 1-1 draw just to get a goal and get the confidence going and stuff like that. But the response from I wouldn't say the response from the goal, but I think it's more so a case you can definitely tell Wales have grown in confidence from the goal. They're keeping the ball a little bit more. They seem to be dictating. They're not really allowing us a chance to get any kind of little bit of rhythm and flow going in our play.
Yeah, just I was worried about the sound, but thankfully a guy called Cloud has commented in saying there's nothing wrong with the sound. So fair play to you, Cloud.
Always listen to the positives.
There's one for you. If we did score, who do you think would be the most likely to do it?
I don't really know because second half we haven't had many chances. Adam might have had that one good chance, so maybe from him. But probably only other option maybe apart from that would again be our old traditional set piece as we've become known for. But if we can get an attacking option off the bench, then you never know. The only problem is there's not a lot of goals among them players on the bench. Maguire, I think, got one last year in the friendly against New Zealand. Collins got one against Bulgaria in a friendly. I think that's the only players upon the bench that put the ball in the back of net for us in the past.
Yeah, I still think Shane Duffy Heather is not out of the question.
No,
as well.
I wouldn't disagree one bit.
A good ball there by Brady. Runs all the way through to their goalkeeper. We're trying to make things happen still, which is positive. But yeah, it's ultimately going to come down to, unless we actually get the goal, people are still going to be very pissed off. It's just the way we are as a nation, really. It's looking like it's heading to be 3 horrible defeats today. Well, for me anyway. Between the under-21s, Shells, and now Ireland, unless we can salvage something.
Yeah, it's looking like it is going to be a bad day. A day that promised so much for Irish football. Looks like it's just going to be another one of them days that won't be remembered for too long. Sorry, you were saying?
McLean's just having a shocker here. I mean, he's running directly at them, and goes to fell there. He goes to run at them. Looks like he's going to take a shot, and then he goes to fake as he's going to give it to Dara O'Shea, and then gives the ball to nobody. Dara O'Shea luckily kind of steps in, wins the ball, and he's not a natural left back anyway. Kind of loses the ball trying to play a little ball in behind there. But James Collins is just after coming on now actually, and Howard's coming on too. So Malumbi's off, and who's the other sub coming off? I'd say it's Adam Ida. Could be wrong though. Yeah, it's Ida. He looks like he's taking a knock though. I think that's the reason why he's off. So Ida and Malumbi are off. James Collins and Conor Howard are both on. Thoughts, Jer?
Yeah, probably not the two players I would have been looking for. Stephen Kenny must have heard me and wanted to annoy me. And Malumbi is not a player I would have taken off either. He's shown a bit of bite, a bit of determination that we could badly do without there. But look, I really hope I'm proven wrong. I thought Ida put in a good shift. I thought he tried hard. Like he was quite isolated.
Oh, he just took a shot there.
Had a good chance. Like, but look, hopefully one of these players will produce that moment of brilliance for us. Just in terms of McLean as well, that was a shocking pass to Dara O'Shea. You mentioned that Dara O'Shea got there and lost it. I think it was just a case of that Dara O'Shea had to lunge in to try and get any control of it and kind of lost any balance and made himself open to lose the ball. But yeah, McLean's performance, it's just kind of reminiscent of the performances we've seen from him over the last while, where he said he gets the ball, goes on a run, looks like he's going to do something, takes his man on, can't do it, then right, I'll try and gain a yard ahead of him, and he just gets closed down.
Yeah, he's one-dimensional. Everything he does, he's predictable. Especially at this level of international football, you might get away with that in the Championship, but you won't get away with it in international football. James Collins had a shot there while you were talking, straight at the keeper after clattering into Ampadu. I think he might give us that physicality up front that maybe Adam Ida lacked, and that's just purely down to just him being so young and stuff like that. I think probably wasn't expecting to be so physical with Wales, but I think he took a hiding tonight, Ida, in terms of getting involved. Oh, that's a foul for us in a good position. Good play by Collins. Gets the ball in from a throw in, takes it on his chest, and gets to the second touch first, and wins a good foul for us. He hung his leg in there. Yeah, it was a clever play by Collins.
So hopefully something will come from this.
Well, I would say it's Robbie Brady. It's from the other side now. It's from his natural left position, kind of to the left of the edge of the box. So you'd be hoping that he can find someone here. He's signaling to someone. I think it's Dara O'Shea or something. He's signaling saying, "I found you." So here we go. He's gonna whip it in now. Oh, it's well defended again. Kiefer Moore was marking Duffy. Otherwise, Duffy would have had a goal. I don't know what Hendrick's trying to do there, shooting from there. Oh my God! And he's after giving the ball away on our own edge of the box. There on a breakaway now with Brooks. Hendrick. Great save, Darren Randolph. That came from Hendrick just being an idiot. He was 1-on-1 and Darren makes a great save, a typical Darren Randolph save. You'll see it now. What was
Yeah, just Brady's free kick just after going in there. Yeah, that was pretty poor play from some of Jeff Hendrick's experience. I don't really know what he was trying to do. Yeah, it's a very good save from Randolph. Pushes it over the bar as well. Even Hendrick, just going back to even before that bad pass or bad touch or miss hit, whatever you want to call it, don't even know what he's trying to do to shoot from that far out as well. Or he was just trying to drive into the box and hope that a ricochet might go our way. It was pretty stupid stuff. But yeah, Darren Randolph once again proving why he's number one for us with a fantastic save there. Keeps the game at 1-0, and now we have to try and defend this corner.
Yeah, it was defended well.
I should have known that. Sorry.
Jason Knight's at the clatter incident. Just someone's after making a little comment there. I just want to clear things up. He says, "Hi Paul, I'm watching this from Thailand. You're doing a great job, but you'll have to protect your voices more and stop looking away from the camera. Please don't take this personal." It's hard for me because I have a camera here in front of me, a match screen there, and I have the computer here to read your comments. So please excuse the fact that I have to look away to look at the comments to get your comments up on screen. So I'm trying to do 4 things here at once. So please forgive me if I'm not looking at the screen. So don't take that personal either. But hi from Thailand, and thanks for tuning in. It's 1-0 still here. What did you think of that save, Jay?
That was a very good save. I think even the way that he managed to push it up and over the bar as well. Probably the only thing that might have slightly worked in his advantage was the way his attacker was just come.
Jack Byrne and O'Dowd are coming on, sorry.
Oh, I thought you said goal for a second.
I said, sorry. Jack Byrne and O'Dowd are togging out now. They have their jersey ready and getting instructions from Damien Duff. So Hendrick losing the ball again, tries to kick one of their players. He has had a dreadful night.
Yeah, it's been a disappointing performance for him. It's finally good to see that finally, at long last, Jack Byrne, after so much talk, will finally get his international debut. And let's see what he's like at this level. Let's see if he is worthy of all the talk that we've been giving him over the last couple of years. All the performances of Shamrock Rovers really proves that he is a top quality player and that he has got the potential to play at this level. Obviously, the Callum O'Dowd substitution, it's not something I think you would be overly inspired by, given your criticism of him in recent games. To be honest, I haven't really seen much from either. I think apart from the first half against Bulgaria, I don't think I've really seen much again for me to thinking like, right, this is someone we need to get back in our starting team.
Yeah. Sorry, say that again. I got distracted by something on my phone there.
So I was just saying about the introduction of O'Dowd. It wouldn't be something that I think you'd be over inspired by yourself.
No, he doesn't fill me with confidence. Hopefully he gets a goal here and proves me wrong. I mean, he's got 10 minutes to show some sort of emotion and show what he's about. Brady's gone off. And Jack Byrne's now on. Number 14.
Who else has gone off?
I don't think O'Dowd has came on yet.
All right. But
he's trying to see Byrne's trying to get into the game already, dropping deep and looking for it. I'd love to see Jack Byrne score. Do you know that? I just love that.
Big time. Even as a Pats fan, I wouldn't mind one bit. But just talk about like market image for the League of Ireland as well. If he was to score, it'd be just fantastic. Because like obviously I know Graham Burke scored a couple of years ago in that friendly against USA, but as you said, like we haven't utilised someone like a Jack Byrne, like I said, like to put him up in the posters, to glamorise our league, to market, to target, to get people in. Like, and this could be just that moment that can just kind of show us that, as you said, like that we can utilise him a little bit more from a marketing point of view for the league.
Yeah, he seems to be like. The problem is at the moment we're kind of trying to go very. O'Dowd is on now. I think he came. McLean's still on there, so I'm not sure. Good ball by McLean. It's headed out for a corner. Trying to figure out who the other player was who came off there because it didn't come up on screen. I'm trying to look around the team there. So there was Howard came on. Was it a defender who took off? I wonder. Right, Shane Duffy's been taking a hiding from Kiefer Moore. But yeah, Jack Byrne's he's been dropping deep trying to get on the ball, which would be interesting to see if he can actually get on the ball, considering we're trying to launch it, constantly up. Duffy's after taking another hiding there, clatter of heads, 3 players down now.
Any chance for a penalty?
No. I think I'd like to see the replay of this now. What actually happened? Come on. Yeah, they're just.
Yeah, the 2 Wales players going for the one ball. There's not much communication there between the 2 of them, and Duffy gone down as well. Just noticed as well, just before that corner as well, he seemed to have a bit of blood on one of his elbows as well. So was he involved in the previous clash?
I think he might have got stood on. There's nothing in that. They just showed the replay. Darren Mannion just said there that O'Shea was the one who came off. He's been given a yellow card, Shane Duffy, as well. He can't understand why. He is just not enjoying life at the moment. I feel sorry.
No, not getting anything going his way. The only reason why I can see he gets yellow card because he just kind of leans in a bit with the elbow, but when 3 players go down and clash in the heads, like I think it's very, very harsh just to single out someone. And as you just said, like Even the small little things just aren't going his way at the moment. You would have to just feel sorry for him. Like,
Yeah, that's annoying. Just watching it, like, because he's just not getting nothing's gone his way. Like, he got yellow carded for absolutely nothing there. He was just competing for the ball, and the two of them came in and got into him. Like, they collided with each other, but the one that was closest to him actually was the one that headed Duffy, if that makes sense, and he got a yellow. That's why he can't understand. I don't know. He needs to be careful he doesn't get sent off though.
yeah, it's the last thing we need.
Although it might be a good thing for him. Jack Byrne's not really getting. He's trying to play him in there. Duffy was. He's not really getting any touches of the ball. This will be a big.
No, it hasn't.
At the
I
end
think
of the
because
game,
the stops.
I think at the end of the game, people will be saying, "Oh, Jack Byrne came on, didn't do anything," but won't realise the fact that it's been a long ball since he's been on.
Yeah, it's even been a very stop-start nature to the game, even since he came on as well with that collision and stuff like that. As you said, like long balls, hasn't got a chance to get into it. Just yeah, and we just get the ball away there again. A couple of moments ago as well by Duffy, so we're not even helping our own cause to get the ball up into the pitch in areas where we'd like to see Jack Byrne.
Yeah, I just noticed that McLean's gone left back. They done well to get the ball out of that position, but they need to stop doing this tiki-taka stuff and get the ball up the pitch. We're in the 86th minute now, and we're chasing the game here. Do you know, we need to start getting the touches. Here's Burns on the ball now, and he gets away from a good bit of play between himself and Jason Knight, and he plays a good ball to James Collins, who shoots straight at the keeper, but a good positive play there. That was good by Burns.
He seems to have had a positive. Sorry, I was just saying, I didn't mean to cut across there, Paul. Just saying that Collins does seem to have a positive impact since he came on. I know he had a shot that he actually fouled Roman, but he won a free kick and he's had that shot there, so he's actually done reasonably well in getting involved in the game since he came on.
Yeah, I think he looks positive. I think he'll probably start against Bulgaria. It'd be good if he actually plays against Bulgaria because he's already scored against them as well. I think that's psychologically an advantage for him, and I think we should be going to that Bulgaria game wanting a win now. They're taking Brooks off now, and they're bringing on Roberts in his place. So there's 3 minutes left of the game. There'll be a few minutes added time, I'm sure, for the players down and stuff like that. But just looking at that goal, I just wonder, could Darren Randolph do a bit better? They're trying to replay of it there.
Yeah, you'd imagine to be given there was a couple of stoppages, obviously that delay there, to all the substitutions. You probably could be looking at 4 minutes of stoppage time. As you said, like, we're in this situation now, we're losing, we're chasing the game, we need to get a goal. We need to be just a little bit more direct and get the ball forward into areas where we can get Collins involved, we can get Byrne involved and stuff like that. Like, it is that almost kind of desperation stakes because it is that late stage in the game. Yeah, just looking at the goal there again, I think there's numerous things we could look at could have prevented the goal, but look, we'll only be making ourselves even more sad and depressed as they've just taken off David Brooks, the goal scorer.
Yeah, but we're trying to get a bit of urgency. There's O'Dowd on the left. He gives it to McLean. Can't beat the first man. Goes back to Jack Byrne. He's looking for someone to show. He whips the ball into the box for Collins. Good header, straight at the keeper though. But good ball in. Sorry, by Byrne to find him.
Yeah, and once again, James Collins getting on the end of it. So certainly can't be faulted for trying to play his part in getting us back in this game since his introduction.
Yeah, he's done well since he came in. Obviously, Ida looked like he got bullied a little bit, in my opinion. But yeah, Collins, I think, has done well. He's had 3 shots since he's been on.
Yeah. And do you think that's why Collins has enjoyed more success, because he has that physicality, obviously, that Adam Ida wouldn't have, because he's only 19 years of age, 20 years of age. Collins is 29, 30. So that's something that's going to come with time. Really, you just think that looking at this game, maybe we could have introduced Collins a bit earlier, because his physicality is causing the Wales defenders a couple of issues and giving them a couple of things to think about.
Yeah, well, I think obviously his physicality is one thing. He has experience of playing in tough leagues as well, so I think that'll stand to him. He's used to coming up against solid centre backs who are just there to hurt you as well. So I think he has that. Whereas Alameda, probably he's looking at his physicality and his stature. He's probably not used to being bullied. He's probably used to bullying defenders. You know what I mean? So I don't think Alameda done particularly badly. The service up to him wasn't amazing either. Let's not forget. Like if he was given a good service, it may be a different story. Oh my God, Howard. We're just trying to play out from the back there. McLean gave the ball left back, gave it to Howard, and tried to give it back to McLean. Heavy touch, or heavy pass, sorry, and it went out for a throw in. Yeah, we've got 5 minutes additional time here, and it's not looking like we're going to score. I hope I'm wrong.
Yeah, as I touched on earlier in the show, I think if we don't manage to find the ball in the back of the net inside the next 5 minutes, we are going to break the run for the longest time. Ireland have never scored, but like I said,
2-0. No, sorry, Darren Randall saved it. Should have
off
been
you.
2-0.
Thanks be to God. So we're still in the game. But yeah, as I was just saying, if we don't score in the next 5 minutes, I think we are going to break the record for the longest run Ireland has gone consecutively without scoring a goal. As we touched on, our main man for the stats, good old Gary Spain, he's at the game. He's going to be doing his talking points, his match summary from this. So that's something I'm sure he knows a lot more about. And if it is true, I'm sure he's going to touch on it in the game. Yeah, just seeing Randolph's save there, very good save, although it was, if it was to be critical from Wales' point of view, it was pretty much straight at him.
Yeah, I think it's one of those that when you're hitting it, you just want to get it on target. So he had to be in the position to save it as well, to be fair to him. See that Jack Byrne demanding the ball there, even off Matt Doherty. He's right beside him. You'll see it now come up on your screen in a few minutes. But I just think it's mad. Like he's just demanding the ball in the tightest of spaces, and he's the only one willing to take a risk and actually want to get on the ball and try and make something happen, because nobody else is trying to make anything happen. These player ratings should be fun that I have to do. I think anyone will get over a 6.
Yeah, it's hard to see anyone. You probably will be looking at a lot of maybe 4s and 5s again, which is harsh, but it's just the reality that like it's not been a bad performance, but it hasn't been a dominating performance. It hasn't been an inspiring performance. We still haven't really come much closer to scoring a goal. We still can't say that we've done enough to win the game. You might make a case that maybe we might deserve the draw. Some might say we don't. But like at the end of the day, you have to be clinical. You have to take your chances. Wales did. That you can't have any complaints. But in fairness, like the players, they haven't given up. They haven't dropped. I thought for a while after the goal, it looked like the hits dropped a little bit, but they keep going. They keep pushing. We've got a corner here of myself. I'm pretty sure you've probably already seen what's happened with it.
Yeah, I just didn't want to shout. Byrne takes it. It's kind of whipped in, fizzed in towards the near post. Howard gets a head on it, and the keeper makes a good save. He's after giving the ball away there, Jack Byrne, to Roberts, but Hendricks after committing himself there. I think he's red card. Last man. Yeah. That came from Jack Byrne's short pass. So we're down to 10 men now, and it's in the 3rd minute of additional time. I think that's summed up Hendricks' game, to be honest. Yeah, Byrne tries to give the ball to Knight. It's too soft, and then but there's actually 3 players there, so he's not actually the last man, but he was trying to take players out earlier in the game. He booted a Wales player for no reason earlier on in the game as well. So I think he was probably asking for the red card. So we can say good luck to this game anyway. Are you there?
I am. I'm just starting to gather my thoughts. It's hard. It's hard to be positive. This is a tough one to take. It's just been a bad day. I know it's actually been a worse day for you, obviously, with Shelburne and Sophie as well, but just today you kind of thought finally we might have a positive story in Irish football, and it's a really kind of low day, and just kind of finding it hard, because there's just going to be so much more negativity again after this game, and just the doubts and the fears are just going to be creeping in more. It's that Bulgaria game. Like we're a better team than Bulgaria. Bulgaria are a poor team, but like you can't point to like an obvious way of how we're going to win that game on current form, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's annoying. I think there's a replay there of I think Dan James handballs it, and that's what they were appealing for. We've got the ball out left with McLean, and he whips in a ball. It's cleared again. O'Dowda has it going back towards our goal. There's about 20 seconds left in the game. 10 now. Long ball up by Randolph to. That's it. Full time. Wales 1, Republic of Ireland 0. Oh, I'm gonna get off, Jer. Because I have to do.
That's okay.
Listen, thanks for joining me. It's been a
No worries.
poxy day.
This is-
But yeah, look, guys, if you are new to the channel, don't forget to give it a subscribe, like the video, or dislike it if you didn't like the performance, whatever you want to do. It's understandable. And huge thanks to Gerard, as I say, for joining me. Make sure you give him a follow on social media. I have to get over and do my videos now, my after match reaction, my player ratings, and then Gary has his videos to do as well from Cardiff. So we'll speak to you soon. Thanks for joining in the comments as well. All the best.
Cheers, Paul.